Alright, so 150 Prado. The 120s are pretty well the same at the back. 120, 150, same, different same, basically the same. And guess what? The front of the 120 and the 150s, almost the same, but a bit different. And where the differences are is on the 150, look, sometimes you can do things the easy way or the hard way. And what I mean is, sometimes taking a few extra things off out of the way, it might seem like more work or unnecessary, but it just makes things easier. So when doing the front strut R&R on a 120 or a 150, what I like to do and usually do is remove the bash plate if there is one in the way like this, and remove these two. See these little bracket things coming off? They're gone now, right? They're both gone. So there's a few bolts. There's, you know, the one that goes in there, the one that goes in there, and you know, the one that goes in. You just get those brackets out of the way. And why do you do that? Well, because we're going to take the sway bar right out of the way as well. So to get the sway bar out, there's a couple of bolts. You can see one's already been removed to make this video short, a little head start for you. The other side, you just loosen it, right? You don't need to take it right out because see, it's got a little slot there. And it depends which way these brackets have been fitted, if they've been off before, and it doesn't matter. See, same at this side, you can see the little slot there at one side. So you don't need to take that one right out. They do need to be loosened a little bit more, so we'll loosen those off probably around about 4 or 5 turns. You know, you don't want them to fall out, but enough room so you can just slip that bracket at the moment, you know, not kind of like, oh yeah, no, that is enough actually, so that'll do. But we'll take another 1 or 2 turns just to give it a bit more room, because as it is at the moment, it's going to be, there's not much clearance there to slip it back in when we get to that point. Now to remove the sway bar up this way now, we're going to undo that 17mm nut on the left side just here, and that whole sway bar we'll remove from the vehicle. Let's get that done and show you the next step. Alright, so here we are, we've got the sway bar off, pretty straightforward. You can see, gone, there's an empty hole there, there's no sway bar. Because the reason we get that out the way is because this strut, you know, the yellow part, that needs to sort of come out this way, and it was in the way. You can sort of work around it, can be a bit of a pain, but this is the way we think works pretty reliably, pretty well. Next thing we want to do is get this tie rod end out of the way. So we're going to take the split pin off there, so that split pin, and we're going to loosen off that nut. It's a 17mm, and then you either need a ball joint splitter type tool, which we've found to be quite unsuccessful over the years, so the traditional way, again the hammer, and you need to give that a good smack there without hitting or damaging that. Okay, that's at your own risk, and without damaging and hitting this too much. Yeah, you know, it does happen a little bit, you get that, but bada bing, that's how it's done. We've damaged a number of tools, so sometimes they work, sometimes they don't, and sometimes it wrecks the tool, so probably depends on, we've used some good quality ones and been damaged over the years, so the hammer's reliable. So we're going to get that out, right? So we're going to get the tie rod end out, long story short. Then we're going to undo the nut down here, the bottom bolt, that's a 17, oh that's a 19 actually. We're going to zip that out, right? Don't pull the bolt out yet, just zip the nut off, take the washer off. Then up the top here, we're going to undo the 3 nuts, not this one here, no, not that one, right? This one here, and there's one hidden at the back you can't see around there, they're 14mm. So, D.I.Ys, got it? Everybody's got it? You got any questions?
Split pin, 17mm.
Yep.
Bolt, 19mm.
Yep.
14mm, 3 bolts, not the top one.
Bada bing, right? And then we'll slip that bolt out and we'll carefully, we'll get the video happening again and show you again, but that's the steps now. 3 nuts at the top, nut at the bottom, tie rod end out. Bada bing. Get on with it. Okay, just to annoy some people. Anyway, top hat, those 3 nuts and bolts, you know, nuts I said, not the middle one, right? They're undone, good. Bottom nuts off, beautiful. So we're about to get say like a Phillips head, and just put that against the end there and give it a bit of a tap, 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 and that bolt will come out. We've got this loose now. One little tip I want to say with this is, I think I made a mistake before actually. I might have given you the wrong sizes. So let me go through it again. The end of the sway bar is 17. The top nuts up here are 14. Not that it matters, you'll figure it out. And this bottom nut's 19. I may have said this is 17, but it's 19 as well. What would I know anyway? Like I said, guys, too many sizes, always getting it wrong. But what I like to do is just leave the nut on there. Normally the top of the cage nut flush with the top of the bolt. So when you got to smack it here, this one took quite a smacking. I even sprayed a bit of CRC on it. Not bad. And then we'll just quickly go over the other side and show you that side. This one, second tap. It was like quite bizarre. Wasn't I really smacking the other one? How many hits? 30 hits? 40 just
30 hits on the
and
other
they were
one.
solid hits. And this one, yeah, second hit and pop. So look, sometimes they get stuck, and that's what I'm saying. Sometimes when they're stuck, those tools, the pullers and that, they just don't work. So there's two ways to do things. Over here, again, the nut's out. Yep. So what we're going to do now, guys, we're going to, you can start this right now if you like, right here, bit of action. Let's take this nut off and drop these arms out. Bit of action, right? Let's take that out. Once you drop it out, just put the nut back on, so then you know where the nut is, right? You know where it came from. Just give it a bit of a wiggle in and out. That's it. Just sit the nut a couple of turns. And while we're at it, we can just check these rack ends and see how much play there is. Still pretty tight, are they? They're still hanging around a bit, so okay, that's not bad. If they drop really quickly, like, and there's play in there, right, you're sort of checking that inner rack end there. Try not to squeeze wobble these around too much either, because then, you know, a little bit of grease can come out the boot. Doesn't matter, but just try not to. Yep, same at that side. And then we will, yeah, let's get these bottom bolts out. And it's going to be hard to demonstrate how to get these out, but once you do that, we're going to turn the wheel inward at the front so that it makes this boot go back out that way. And just be careful getting this out, not hitting and damaging that boot. These are really strong. Genuine are the best, absolutely, Toyota. And we're just going to be really careful how we get those arms out. So let's grab the tools to get those out, and we'll tell you about that. We'll show you. Getting the bottom bolt out of the shocker. Bit of a tap with a hammer. Give it a good smack, mate. That's it. Boing! There he goes. That's standard operating procedure. And pull your screwdriver out. Yeah, a bit of the weight of the strut's sitting on it, that's all. A bit of a wiggle and a pull. Get some muscles into it. Or you can just wiggle away. There you go. Now basically, once we... now, what you can do is, you use one hand to take the weight of this strut, holding it up, because remember, we've taken these nuts off, so the strut wants to drop down. We don't want it to drop down, so we want to take the weight of it, grab it here, hold it upwards, and then with your other hand, push down perhaps here on the rotor, and then you can pull while turning the front inward, like that. See how the boot, if you pull it outwards, the boot goes closer, right? DIYs, watch all the DIYs watching here, right? So if you pull it out, the boot gets in the way, you push in, and we need to get this tie rod out the way a little bit, but if we push in, see how it gives you all that extra room there? And then once you get it out of that area there, then you may pull it back this way a little bit, because you're clear of that area there. Right, so nice and slow for the beginners, right? Now, do you think you're right getting this out? Or?
I'll try.
Yeah, maybe, yeah. So what I said was, you basically got to, let me just think the way I do it. I'll use my right hand on the strut, so you're right-handed, aren't you?
Yeah.
Because that's your strong arm, right? Try and hold the weight of that upwards. Don't put your hand on that guard on this metal guard, because you'll bend it. Just push down on the rotor here, on the rotor there, with one hand while holding that hand up. This is a test, guys, to see if I can teach someone how to get a strut out. So you're pushing this up. Your right hand push upwards, left hand push downwards. Careful of this boot here. Right. And just turn this a little bit like that to give yourself, and when you pull it out towards you, don't hit the boot too hard. Right. It's all about, push that down a bit, push that up a bit, and it's just going to pop out. I wish I could put this camera down and just do it and show you. So this is why God invented tripods. So I'm going to try awkwardly with a tripod in the way even. So I'm coming in, I've got my left hand on top of the rotor, so it's going to be able to push down like that. I've got my right hand, no gloves, see, we get our hands dirty sometimes. And we're just going to gently, but look, you know, that's what I said. I don't want to make it like I make things look easy, but I do make things look easy. Sorry. Anyway, guys, that's getting the struts out, and I reckon that's around about a long enough time we've spent getting the struts out, so we might call it a day and call that removing the front struts, right? from a 150 Prado. And if you got something out of that, I hope you enjoyed it. And we'll do a separate video, maybe reinstalling. I'll have a look at the length of this one and we'll see how we go. If you got something out of it, please give us a thumbs up and subscribe, turn the bell on. We've got more awesome, authentic, genuine information coming your way. Oh, where did this one go? Oh, they're both out already. Look at that. Bada bing. And guys, I took a phone call after watching that expert removal. The next expert in line here, D.I.Y, got it out in no time. So watch the videos, get yourself educated on how to do it right. There you go. Bada bing.